Hi, I'm Cameron Smith. I'm your instructor for Anthropology 399, the topic of Neanderthal Europe. This is the first time I've taught this course as an online course. I've taught European prehistory many times now as a 365. And while I was teaching that class, I started to devise or to sort of separate out the Neanderthals as part of prehistoric Europe. So much is known about Neanderthals these days, much more than we ever imagined, even when I was an undergraduate 20 years ago. So much more is known now that Neanderthals deserve really their own course. And we have quite an adventure, an intellectual adventure coming up, because not only do we know more about them, but we know more about different aspects of the lives of Neanderthals. For example, we will do in the class, we'll go over the more traditional studies, their stone tools, their ecological adaptations, how did they survive. But we'll also be looking at some pretty radically new, non-traditional ways of understanding or thinking about Neanderthals. And that has to do really with the cognition, with Neanderthal cognition. What is it that was going on in their minds? How did they think? And how does that variety of consciousness, what does it have to tell us about modern consciousness, our own minds? This is one of the most interesting characteristics of Neanderthals, is that they can be used as a comparator to modern humans. They were humans. You'll see their biological name is Homo sapiens neanderthalensis, or some people say Homo neanderthalensis. But they're in the genus Homo. They're humans in many regards. But the curious thing about Neanderthals is that in one way they're very much like us, in another way they're very different from us. So we'll be exploring this whole world of Neanderthal adaptation, Neanderthal evolution, their ecological niche, where they fit into the world of plants and animals in what we call Europe. And we'll be looking at that from a variety of perspectives, cognition, and then, as I said, more traditional studies, stone tools and that kind of thing. The course is largely built around a number of readings, and you'll see that on the syllabus there are about 50 readings, and those 50 readings are broken up into weekly sections, maybe about 3 to 5 items per week, some weeks more, some weeks less. Now, as the course goes on, and as I get an idea of who everybody is in the class, I may well change some of those readings. So I wouldn't go too far ahead and get deeply involved with the things that are actually on the syllabus just yet. You could find those on JSTOR, for example. I wouldn't get too deeply into that just yet. I might be changing that depending on the constitution of the class. There are 20 students as of now, Christmas Day. There are 20 students, and there's quite a wide background. And I don't want the material to be so technical that it alienates people and you don't want to take the class anymore and just leave. On the other hand, I don't want to, I certainly don't want to use just popular science. I want to give you sort of a technical understanding of the Neanderthals. What I really want to do, of course, is at the end of the class have you understand, what are Neanderthals? Where did they come from? They did become extinct, but how did they become extinct, and why? After 270,000 years of fine health, essentially in what we would call Europe, why is it that they become extinct? So to get that, to achieve that learning objective, really, what I want to do is communicate to you with a variety of readings. Sometimes there'll be research reports, for example here, analysis of 1 million base pairs of Neanderthal DNA. Even 10 or 15 years ago, the genome of the Neanderthal was just being explored, but today we can look at we can compare its genome. I think recently the whole genome has been sequenced, and we can compare that with the human genome. Anyway, so we'll look at technical research reports like this, but we'll also look at some chapters from books. We certainly don't need to read the entire book, Neanderthals on the Edge, about the Neanderthals of Gibraltar, the southern Spain, northern Africa. We don't need to read the whole book, but there are a couple of chapters in here that are particularly good about the describing the paleogeography, really, of Europe in the Neanderthal times. And so I'll pull that chapter out and put it online. all of the reading material will be provided to you online as PDF files, and so you can either read them online or you can print them and make your own notes on them. There are online right now, under a link called Background Materials for an Understanding of Neanderthal Europe, there are a number of PDF files that I've already put online that you should start to look at in the first week to get up to speed, sort of to get everybody on the same page with the chronology. All right, what is the time period we're looking at? The geography, okay, what do we call Europe, right? Sort of delineate in space and time the problem or the issues that we're looking at. There's also a skeleton, there's a guide to the human skeleton in there. This is something I wrote years ago, but it's a number of pages of text that describe the anatomy of the human skeleton, and then there are a couple of drawings, and I would suggest printing this out, tape the two drawings together, and you can have a guide to the human skeleton. That's particularly useful when you're reading reports about the physical anthropology, the fossil anatomy of Neanderthals. That could help you along if you need to know where the distal humerus is, or what is the ischial tuberosity. Those are things that they'll be talking about in the paper or in the technical reports occasionally, and you might want to reference that guide to the skeleton. I think that's about it for today. I just wanted to say hello, introduce myself, show you that here the YouTube page is up and running, and I believe we start on the 4th of January. A large part of my task in the class is going through the many thousands of research articles published on Neanderthals, and this is just a tiny sampling of them. And I'm basically going through these, and I have for a few months. I'm going through these, and I'm pulling out articles that are appropriate for this class. And I'll continue to do that and have them online for you when we begin class.